In this session, you're going to learn about conditional statements. Conditional statements are a crucial part of any programming language. They allow your code to make decisions and execute different paths based on specific conditions. In PHP, we have several types of conditional statements, including if, else, else if, switch, and ternary operators. Let's look at if statement. The if statement is the simplest form of conditional statement. It evaluates an expression and executes the code block inside it if the expression is true. Look at the syntax. If the condition within parentheses and opening curly brace, if the condition is true, then the code will be executed. Closing curly braces. Let's see an example. Age equals 20 if the condition, which is age, is greater than or equal to 18, opening curly brace, echo within double quotes, you are an adult, semicolon, then closing curly brace. In this example, the message you are an adult will be printed out because the condition age is greater than or equal to 18 is true. Next is the else statement. The else statement is used to execute a block of code if the condition in the if statement is false. Syntax will be like this. If within parenthesis condition, opening curly brace, the code will be executed if the condition is true, then closing curly braces, and then we type else just after the closing curly brace, and then open one curly brace, and here the code will be executed if the if condition is false, then closing brace. Let's look at an example. Change the age to 16, then add an else just after the closing braces of the if statement, and then after the else, open a new curly brace, go to the next line, echo, you are not an adult. So basically, if the age is less than 80, then this will be printed. Let's go to the browser. I refresh the page. You can see that the message you are not an adult is printed because the condition age is greater than or equal to 18 is false. Next is the else if statement. The else if statement is used to specify a new condition if the first condition is false. It allows you to check multiple conditions. This is how the syntax looks for the else if statement. Let's look at an example. Type score equals 75, and if condition score is greater than or equal to 90, then we will print out grade A. Else if the score is greater than or equal to 80, it will print out grade B. Else if the score is greater than or equal to 70, it will print out grade C. Everything else is grade F. Okay, so in this example, the grade C will be printed because the condition score is greater than or equal to 70 is true and all the previous conditions are false. Let's add a Boolean variable. Is student equals true. If student within parentheses, then echo you are a student, else you are not a student. If you simply put the Boolean variable to the condition, it will check if the value of the variable is true. Here we declare isStudent variable as true, so the condition checks if isStudent is true. In this case, the condition is true, so it will print you are a student. Change the value of isStudent to false, see what it prints. It prints you are not a student because the condition is false. Let's add an exclamation mark before the isStudent variable. This exclamation mark before the Boolean variable is known as logical NOT operator. It checks the inverted value. Say if the variable is true, then it will check its inverted value, that is false. If the value is false, then it will check if the value is true. In this case, the if condition block will be executed because the inverted value of isStudent, which is true, is met. Otherwise, the else block will be executed. Go to the browser and see how it looks. You can see that you are a student was printed because the if condition block was executed. Let's look at switch statement. Switch statement is another way to handle multiple conditions. It's often cleaner and more readable than multiple else if statements when you are dealing with many conditions based on the same variable. This is how the syntax looks for switch statement. The term case in a switch statement refers to a label or branch within the switch structure. Each case represents a possible value that the variable being tested could match. When the switch statement evaluates the variable, it checks each case label in turn, and when a match is found, the corresponding block of code is executed. Here is an example. Let's define a variable day equals Wednesday and create a switch statement by typing switch, and inside the parentheses we put the expression. So our expression we're passing is day, and the first case, if the expression is Monday, then colon echo today is Monday will be executed. Then we type break. We'll discuss more about this in the next lecture about break and continue statements. The next is case Tuesday. Echo Tuesday is today is Tuesday, and Wednesday echo today is Wednesday, break, and I'm typing for Thursday and Friday. And the default is echo weekend. So if none of the above cases are true, then default will be printed. So for this, you don't have to add break statement. So with this code, if you go to the browser and refresh the page, you can see the message today is Wednesday is printed because the day matches the case Wednesday. Change the day to a random string and save the code. Go to the browser and refresh the page. You can see that none of the cases were met, so the default value was printed, that is weekend. Next, let's look at ternary operator. The ternary operator is a shorthand for the if-else statement. It takes 3 operands and is used to assign a value based on a condition. This is the syntax. So first we put the condition, then a question mark and expression 1. So basically if the condition meets the expression 1 will be executed, else expression 2. So for example, age equals 20, and we can declare another variable called status and equals, within parentheses we put age is greater than or equal to 18. If this condition is true, then adult, else just after the colon we put minor, and then we print out the status. You are, and then we put status, end quote. So in this example, if we go to the browser and refresh the page, the message you are an adult will be printed because the condition age is greater than or equal to 18 is true. Next is using logical and logical OR operators in PHP conditionals. First, the AND operator. The AND operator is used to combine multiple conditions in a single if statement. All conditions must be true for the code block to execute. Here's the syntax. We separate these conditions with 2 ampersand symbols, and these 2 ampersand symbols together are called the logical AND operator. Let's put age equals 20 and another variable, a boolean, has id equals true. In the following example, what we're going to do is if age is greater than or equal to 18 and if the user has id, then we will print out you are allowed to enter. Otherwise, we will print out you are not allowed to enter. So if age is greater than or equal to 18 and has id, then opening parenthesis, echo you are allowed to enter, else echo you are not allowed to enter. So in this example, the message you are not allowed to enter will be printed because both the conditions age is greater than or equal to 18 and has id are true. Let's change age to 17 and see how it looks. So go to the browser and refresh the page. You can see that you are not allowed to enter was printed. Why? Because one of those conditions are not met. Next is the OR operator. The OR operator is used to combine multiple conditions where at least one condition must be true for the code block to execute. So this is the syntax of the logical OR operator. You can see that both the conditions are separated by two bar symbol or pipe symbol. This can be found just above the return key or enter key on your keyboard. Inside the if condition, we will put the code to be executed if either condition 1 or condition 2 is true. For example, let's add two Boolean variables. The first one is student, it is true, and the next one is member, and this one is false. And for our if statement, if within parentheses is student, the logical OR operator is member, opening parenthesis, and inside this if statement we put echo you are eligible for a discount, else echo you are not eligible for a discount. So in this example, the message you are eligible for a discount will be printed because at least one of the conditions is true. In our case, is student is true and is member is false. So because is student is true, this condition was executed. Let's change is student to false and see how it looks. And save the code, go to the browser and refresh the page. You can see that you are not eligible for a discount was printed. Why? Because both the conditions are false. You can also combine and OR operators to form more complex conditions. Use parentheses to ensure the correct order of evaluation. For example, add age equals 20 and has ID equals true and is VIP equals false. If opening and closing parentheses, then again within we put opening and closing parentheses. This is the combined condition. So inside we put age is greater than or equal to 18 and has ID. Come outside the parentheses, put or is VIP, opening parenthesis. If the combined or if is VIP is true, then echo you are allowed to enter, else echo you are not allowed to enter. So in this example, the message you are allowed to enter will be printed because the combined condition, that is age is greater than or equal to 18 and has ID is true, even though is VIP is false.